I'm Charlie, and this is Munching Around Milwaukee. Munching Around Milwaukee is a podcast we do with local chefs, restaurateurs, foodies, and food influencers. Food influencers, for those of you who can speak. We have a very vibrant food scene here in Milwaukee, and we like to celebrate those that make it such, some of the places and some of the people. So today I'm very pleased to have my guest, John Levine.
Pleasure.
John, good to see you.
Likewise.
John, it's John's day off, so thank you very much for coming today, John.
Yeah, absolutely.
John works at Rare Steakhouse. He's the Executive Sous Chef at Rare, and he brought on. I'm kind of excited about this. So we're gonna eat and talk. So this is from Rare Steakhouse. So John, tell us what we got here.
Yeah. So today what I brought was pan-seared sea bass with a saffron fumet, crispy leeks, and then braised fennel.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
then I brought our famous Hokkaido Wagyu snow beef as well for us to try.
we're gonna try some Wagyu. I'm gonna try to eat as much as I can. Anyway, so let's go ahead and plate so we can.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I get the non-rare plate. He gets the rare plate. So, John, while we're doing this, so you were born here in Milwaukee?
I was actually born in Seoul, South Korea.
Oh, okay.
I was adopted
Uh-huh.
at a very young age, just when I was a baby.
Uh-huh.
And then I grew up in Downers Grove, Illinois. And then come my high school years, I got raised in Cedarburg, Wisconsin.
Okay. And so you grew up in Cedarburg. So I know. Thank you.
Of course.
Here, I'll give you this fork back. And I think I'll have one little teeny piece of Wagyu for now. Because we're just munching. This is just munching. So I know you were in the Army for about 7 years or so?
Correct. I was in the Army for 3 years. I was stationed up at Fort Wainwright, Alaska.
Okay.
I was a combat engineer, and I basically got to get paid to clean toilets, so that was fun. And drive around in the motor pool.
Right.
But we were demolition experts, and breaching was our main duties as a combat engineer. But my garrison had just gotten back from a deployment, so there's really nothing much to do.
Okay. So you leave the Army, you roll into working in public life. Tell me about a little bit about your early career.
Yeah, so early on in my career, after I was in the Army, I had various jobs, selling cars, and a couple other random jobs. But cooking was something I always loved. From a very early age, even before I was in the Army, I worked at Culver's in Grafton. And at Culver's, I was the buns guy. So I was putting the mayo on, your pickles, your lettuce, ketchup, mustard, all that stuff, the works. And I loved it. It's what made me fall in love with cooking, for sure. I loved the stress of being in the kitchen. I liked being yelled at, actually. I found the stress and the pressure to really be a lot of fun. And then after the Army, I worked at a breakfast place called Sam's Sourdough up there in Alaska. Unfortunately, it's no longer there. The owners had passed away during COVID. But that's when I really fell in love with line cooking a lot. And then I moved back to Wisconsin and just kind of, pursued culinary a lot more from there.
So on your resume, does it say buns guy for Culver's?
Yep.
Buns guy. That's a great title.
Toasted the buns.
So you I did want to touch on your culinary journey. So you starting as most people, they either family related or you've worked in a food service area, and you think that's your calling. So when did you get into more the type of work that you're doing now, which is you're actually a chef, not just the buns guy.
Yeah. So in 2016, I pursued a job with Bibbingers up there in Slinger, Wisconsin. I quickly got promoted to a sous chef level, and then after Bibbingers, I worked at Timmer's Resort, a well-known supper club up there in West Bend, and I was the executive chef out there for a little bit. And then I transferred to Milwaukee because I wanted to be part of the culinary scene down here, the growing fast industry. And then I also just wanted to meet new people, make new connections, stuff like that. Okay. So once I got transferred down to Milwaukee, I did some catering, offsite catering, which I really, really liked. But then I just wanted a place to hang my apron, essentially. So I transferred over to the Pizza Man location on Downer Avenue. And I was the sous chef there. And then we closed that location down. And then I worked at the Humboldt one as the executive chef out there. And then, after a couple of years of making pizzas, I wanted to do something else. So I worked at Coco Seafood and Steakhouse in Oconomowoc for a couple of years. General manager, executive chef role. And that's kind of where my love for steak and seafood kind of really came out. And then I just recently joined up at Rare Steakhouse.
All right, let's talk about Rare Steakhouse.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, these braised fennel.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
Thank you.
This braised fennel is very good. Always goes with fish. Goes well with fish. So, Rare, it's obviously a steakhouse since the name is Rare Steakhouse. And you're just getting ready to launch a new menu.
Correct.
So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we're getting ready to launch a whole new menu over here at Rare Steakhouse. We want to try and make things a little bit more modern, When you think about your steakhouse, you think about your giant baked potatoes, your giant piece of steak, and everything kind of a la carte. But for dishes like this, we want to make things a little more composed, a little more elevated. So we're talking about having a lamb tartare on. We're talking about making our own brioche buns with a little foie gras pate, and then the tartare on top. Other dishes would include this delicious sea bass that we're enjoying right now.
Really good.
And then I have some other dishes I'm thinking about as well, but not limited to a sous vide duck breast that we're thinking about doing with a romesco and a chimichurri, an Arctic char seafood dish, and then a Neiman Ranch ribeye we're thinking about putting on as well. And then a nice sous vide octopus as well. So
good.
We're really trying to change things up from your non-traditional steakhouse and have a little more appealing appetizers and, kind of make it a little bit more price point, consumer friendlier.
Good. All right, so John, so I worked in the restaurant business when I was young, many 100 years ago. And I know one thing that I like to do was after shift at night, we'd go out.
Oh, yeah.
So I lived in D.C., so we go to Georgetown, and there's plenty of places to go there. So what's your go-to here in Milwaukee, or even in the surrounding, that is a go-to for you when you're after work?
That's an easy one. There's only one go-to bar that I go to, and that's Henry's on Bellevue.
Okay.
It's a pub and grill. It's got a lot of history. It used to be on the actual street of Downer, and then right now it's moved right onto Bellevue and Downer. Actually, ironically, where Pizza Man Downer is.
Yeah.
Relocated now. But yeah, that's my go-to. All my bartender friends there, Hannah, we went to high school together. Love Hannah. She's the best. And I love, her. And then the owner, Nodder, we become real good friends now. At least I'd like to say so. Yeah, me and Nodder, we bonded over the last few years, and there's no other place I love than Henry's. At Henry's, you kind of feel like you belong. We're full of all sorts of random people, a lot of service industry people.
Right.
And it's just a really fun time. You kind of feel like you're a family. And the best part about Henry's is, we have become a family. We do things together. We go get brunch. We go out to eat. We go to events together. Some of my closest friends are regulars I've met at Henry's. And it all started because one day they were celebrating a friend's birthday, and they all hopped on a bus to Waukesha for the skate rink. And then I just hopped on one day, and then now we're all best friends.
I know exactly where Henry's is, right? You said right next to Pizza Man on Downer.
Yeah.
So I'll have to... We usually head to to Pizza Man, now that they've moved back to that location.
Yeah.
But I think we might make a side trip over to Henry's and just check it out.
Yeah, let me know.
So where are your favorite places to eat? Because I see you on social media a lot. We followed each other for a while. And you're always either at an event or out with friends, celebrating some holiday. The Chinese New Year was recent.
Yep.
But I know I've seen you in big group pictures.
Absolutely.
And stuff. So tell me some of the places that are kind of like your go-to, really like to eat there.
Man, I was thinking about this earlier. I think my go-to places to eat are definitely going to be Amelinda, Chef Gregory Leon, and Chef Ethan Daugherty. Sorry if I butchered the name. They do a great job, phenomenally. I love the small plates concept. I find Chef Gregory Leon to be a huge inspiration for me as a chef. And then runner-up would definitely be Loopy and Iris. I definitely find myself at Loopy and Iris a lot. I think they have a great happy hour program. I've never been there for brunch, but I love going to Lupi. The thing I love most about Lupi and Iris is the events that Chef Adam hosts. It's so much fun to be. It's a unique experience. You go in the back room, you watch them plate and cook in front of you. So much fun. If I'm looking for a nice breakfast spot like brunch, no joke, Uncle Wolfie's Breakfast Tavern, Chef Jesse Wendell.
If you can get in.
Yeah, well, you got to know Jesse. I love Chef Jesse Wendell. We work together at Pizza Man and F3 Hospitality, and we become really good friends. I love going to Uncle Wolfie's. We probably go there maybe once or twice a month. And then Italian, hidden gem over in Wauwatosa, Calucenzo.
Oh, yeah.
Chef Zach Baker.
They were an old Pizza Man group.
Yep.
Zach and Sarah.
Yeah. Never worked with Chef Zach or Sarah when they owned the Pizza Mans. However, I've become a recent huge fan of Calucenzo. I can't believe I've just started going this past year. I've been there a couple times. Recently was with Dominic, the food reviewer. Took him out for dinner there. And when you talk pasta and Italian food, there's no doubt that Calucenzo takes the win.
Absolutely.
I love Calucenzo. The pasta, there's something to say about sitting at the pasta bar, watching them make the dough, and you're like, wow, that's the pasta I'm eating.
Absolutely. So I am Italian.
Yeah.
And pasta is my go-to all the time.
100.
But I have been there, and they do make the pasta fresh. It is my favorite Italian place in town, without a question. And they have I think they do have an outside patio, right?
I think so. I've only been there for cold hours, so I'm not too sure, but I'm
can't remember
planning a
if they do or
Calucenzo date soon.
But yeah, it's a great place. And three of the people you just mentioned are going to be on the show. Dominic,
Yep.
my good friend Dominic, will be on next Wednesday. Adam Siegel will be on in a couple weeks, and Gregory Leon will be on. So you're hitting all the high spots for me.
Good lineup.
And they're among the best. And then the people that I like to, Gregory Leon does a lot of work in the community outside of his Amalinda restaurant.
For sure.
He's a great humanitarian, and the work that he does within, some of it is trumpeted, some of it is anonymous, but he's a great person here in our community. So if you had to pick one dish that would describe what your culinary style is, what would you say?
Man, that's tough. I never was classically taught, so I don't have a specific cuisine I was ever trained on
Right.
or anything like that. Being Korean, I was adopted, so I don't know that much Korean flavor profile, stuff like that. Right now, I think a dry-aged steak. That's kind of, to sum me up, long and slow and, aged beautifully. Things get better with time, and I think that best describes the kind of cuisine and cooking I do because I just get better with time.
Good. And you work in a steakhouse, so
Yeah.
So
yeah, working in the steakhouse scene for a few years now. It's so much more than just meat and potatoes, and that's what people think a steakhouse is just meat and potatoes. And I'm trying to change that up a little bit and, add in my fine dining skills to that steakhouse scene. I know people don't like the steaks being cut all the time, but there's something to say once you see that nice, bold color coming out.
I think that's the best way to serve. I mean, I do it cooking at home.
Yeah.
I'm going to slice it. Allows the juices and the flavors to get in and meld together. So, preaching to the choir on that one.
Yeah.
This Wagyu is so good.
Yeah.
Incredibly delicious. So, I don't want to push you out of Rare Steakhouse.
Yeah.
Because you seem to be thriving there and having a good time. But looking into the future, what do you see yourself doing? Do you have any plans or any dreams that you'd like to accomplish?
Yeah, right now I think I just want to continue just building a brand and helping a brand succeed. And obviously continue to work and connect with more Milwaukee chefs that I've been working with, continue to be doing offsites and as many pop-ups as I can, and just really connect. I think the goal for 2025 is actually to kind of start expanding outside of Milwaukee now and start exploring in Madison and Chicago and start connecting with chefs out there. It was me and my fiance's anniversary not too long ago, and we went up to Madison to check out Fairchild. First time ever there, and we loved it. And just hoping to have more dining experiences like that outside of the city of Milwaukee, and just kind of connect and just help grow Milwaukee and connect us on the map.
One place you mentioned outside of Milwaukee that I'm very interested to get to, which I haven't been yet, is the Commodore.
Oh, yep.
Out in Heartland?
Delafield.
Delafield.
Yeah, the New Barletta.
Yeah, it's supposedly everyone that has that I've talked to has been there. Has just said it's fabulous.
Yeah.
In Chicago, there are some people that are here that have Chicago connections and roots. So I think if you dig in a little bit to some of the people that are common friends of ours, there's a way to get that, and then apparently you can just go down to Chicago and say, "Hey, I want to help out," and I'll let you do that. And it doesn't happen in every business, but it certainly does in the food business.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because one of my biggest inspirations for steakhouses is me being younger, never being classically trained or anything like that. A lot of my inspirations comes from Instagram, YouTube, social media, television. One of the profiles I follow online the most would be El Che Steakhouse in Chicago. It's an Argentinian wood fire grill, and that's like my dream, is to go over there and either do a shift there, even if it's just washing some dishes, just to be involved and see how that scene and that culture is. But one of my sales reps was like, "Hey, I know Chef John down there." He's like, "So maybe I can connect you two." So I'm hoping to be playing a visit to there pretty soon.
So Tom's in the audience. Tom, do you know that place in Chicago?
No.
No.
Of course, you've lived here for 20
I've
years.
been up here too long to remember Chicago. See, when they made steak down there, they were using the torches for the outside, infrared ovens,
Yep.
and those older kind of techniques. Yeah, but I do look at the same stuff you're talking about on YouTube and follow to see who's doing what in Chicago with steak. Because everybody has the different technique, the immersion in water we talked about yesterday.
Right.
And that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So Tom's no help. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm worthless. Thank you so much.
We appreciate Tom coming down and eating some really good food, which he's wont to do. So John, thanks so much for coming.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
It was first of all, not first of all, but this was just fantastic. Like I clean my plate so I get dessert. The food is delicious, and
Thank you.
I need to get to Rare soon. What's your happy hour?
Happy hour is from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock, Tuesday through Friday.
Okay.
We have a really great happy hour program, from the cocktails, which are soon to be elevated, along with amazing snacks. Those steak sliders, trust me, that's horseradish cream, pickled onions. That's me all day long. And we just recently opened for lunches, and due to popular demand, we're actually opening for lunch on Tuesdays as well.
Okay.
So right now we have a lot of cool lunch items on hand: lobster rolls, steak frites, crab cake sandwiches, and we expect to elevate them even more. So we just hope to grow our lunch business and our happy hour business, and we hope to see you there.
Well, we have a happy hour every Thursday with our group here at the.
Okay.
So what we're going to do, I want to propose this to the group, is we want to have some sort of rotating happy hour, and so we will make an appearance at Rare for a happy hour.
Love that. Yeah, our bar's great.
John, thanks so much.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
it.
Charlie.
All right, thanks so much for supporting Munching Around Milwaukee. Please subscribe to the podcast, and you can watch our other podcast, Cooking with Milwaukee Community Leaders, where we talk with community leaders. They cook something, and then we eat it. So as I was talking to John earlier, I said, my wife has said, how is it that you get people twice a week to come in and cook for you? I said, just lucky that way. So anyway, thanks so much, and thanks for supporting Munching Around Milwaukee.